Welcome to One-on-One with Expert Flyer. I'm your host, Lisa Caslin, and today we're exploring Africa with author and blogger at Backpacking Africa for Beginners, Valerie Bowden. Good evening, Miss Valerie.
Hi, nice to talk to you.
It is nighttime or close to it, right?
Yeah, it's nighttime here, but good morning to you.
Thank you. Okay, so I've been doing a little bit of digging around your website, and I just find your story to be absolutely fascinating. So what, 3.5 years ago, you just decided, I'm going to go conquer Africa on a backpacking trip all by myself with little to no experience, right?
Exactly.
You're crazy. So how did you wind up doing that? Like what drove you to take such an intrepid trip?
Right. Well, the year before I had volunteered for 3 months in Ethiopia, and I loved the country. And it wasn't what I thought. I thought it'd be super poor, really dangerous. And then I got there and the culture was amazing. The people were great. And when I went home, I just kept thinking, maybe other African countries are like this too. So, so basically I just wanted to go back to Ethiopia and re-see it, but I also wanted to see other African countries. And because I was just out of college, I was broke. So backpacking was the only way I could do it. And so I just took a leap of faith, and it worked out really well for me.
Wow. I mean, you didn't ask any friends to come with you? You just decided you would do it by yourself?
Yeah, nobody wanted to come. They wanted to go to Europe or Australia, and I'm talking about going across Africa. But there's a lot of travelers in Africa, so I was never lonely. I met tons of people.
Wow, that's incredible. So you're basically a one-woman show here to dispel this myth that Africa is a completely and utterly dangerous, violent place to go. Correct?
Exactly.
Okay, so I mean, you're a young woman. How does this play out for different demographics? So somebody who may be middle-aged or in retirement. I mean, is this a practical undertaking for virtually anyone?
Right. Well, I think so. And I think that's the best part about Africa is you can be a traveler my grandparents' friends just came and did a safari in South Africa. You can be middle-aged and do it as a family, or you can be like me. And I was on the crazy end. I was hitchhiking. I was taking cargo boats. But again, it was because I was broke and I like adventure. But the average traveler, the families, maybe the older people or the people who don't want quite the adventure like that, they can do it easily.
Okay, so take me back to the whole kind of unraveling of this Odyssey. So your intention was to go back to Ethiopia because you obviously had experience there, and it was wonderful. How did that turn into 13 different countries, and how did you figure out? Because I mean, I know I keep bringing up the safety part, but I can't even imagine a young woman, kind of fresh out of college, doing this and just kind of figuring out the itinerary and the roadmap on the fly. So how did you do that? You had to talk to people and get guidance. You didn't just, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. So it's originally I was like, I want to see Ethiopia and I want to see out South Africa. And there's only a few countries in between. So, and I had friends who were actually in Mozambique. They were doing some NGO work there. So I thought, okay, South Africa, everybody goes there. And then I could just go over to Mozambique, no problem, see my friends. And then it's just 2 more countries after that. And I'm sure I can figure it out.
Okay.
If worst comes to worst, I'll buy a plane ticket, But then I started traveling and I was like, wow, this is actually kind of easy. And then all these other travelers started telling me about the other countries they went to. And then I didn't know what else there was to do. I thought there was just safaris, and there's so much more.
I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah. So just one thing led to another. And then eventually my trip was 5 times longer almost, and 13 countries. So that was never the plan.
Okay, but that's wonderful. That's the best way, the spontaneity, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so you just mentioned something that was actually going to be my next question. When people think of Africa and they think of an African experience, the first thing that comes to mind is a safari. But
Right.
yeah, well, so now that you have this breadth and depth of experience, how would you categorize different ways to experience the country? Talk about that a little bit.
So, I mean, I obviously love the more adrenaline-seeking activities. Like I went whitewater rafting on the Nile. You can do cage shark diving. You can do bungee jumping. But there's also tons of beaches, so you can just kind of relax and go snorkeling or scuba diving. You can do other animal activities. Like I went gorilla trekking. You can do a walking safari. Yeah, I rode an ostrich. And then, yeah, it was really hard.
I think I would break the ostrich's back, but go ahead.
Yeah, I thought I was going to fall off. But there's even like for some travelers, like when my family came to visit me, now that I live in Ethiopia, we did spas the whole time, spas and resorts. And people don't know, but African countries have the best spas and resorts, and they're even cheaper and the international standard.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a very good tip. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say one was going to, do the traditional safari route, which is an amazing experience. I mean, just to see those animals up close, I mean, a once in a lifetime experience. So if you were going to plan a safari, how would you go about doing that? And, on a minimum level, how much time do you need?
Well, it doesn't take long to plan because there's so many organizations doing it. So really you just kind of have to decide when you can go. And then there's 3 places I recommend, which is in South Africa, Kenya, or Tanzania, because those are the most built up, so it'll be the easiest for a newcomer. And then I always just love TripAdvisor and even Lonely Planet to get like the latest information on what the best organizations were and who the best tour guides were, because things change really fast. So yeah, just a couple of internet searches and book your ticket. And once you arrive, I mean, they're pretty used to tourists coming, so they'll take it from there.
Okay. So if somebody, is a first timer, let's say, somebody young like you when you first started, and they don't have a lot of money, right? So where do you recommend they start? So if they have limited budget, just from getting there, the flight alone, are there tips or tricks, and what's the best country to start with?
Okay, well, if you're new to Africa and kind of freaked out about coming, I recommend South Africa because it is the most modern. I mean, there's McDonald's, there's KFC. You kind of feel a little bit more at home, and people speak English, so it's a lot easier. And then from there, you can kind of choose like the surrounding countries because they get a lot of tourists and it's a little bit easier as well. But as far as cheap places, I found Malawi and Mozambique to probably be some of the cheapest.
Okay.
And they're also just beautiful and fun to see. But I also recommend for like the frugal traveler, grab a tent, stay at backpacking hostels, eat at local bars, local restaurants, take local transportation, and then the day to day is very cheap and will make up for the expensive flights.
Wow. Okay, that's great. So what about somebody who, is a little bit more mature, has a little bit more, income, and may not want to do so much of the rugged kind of experience?
Yeah. I understand. So they could start like in a safari area. Again, South Africa is a great starting point. So if you, go to Cape Town, you can have like the nice wine tastings. They're a little more upscale, and then you can just fly directly to Kruger Park and see the safari. And they have like 5-star lodges there. So you'll always be within your comfort zone still.
Okay. So is there a better time to go, or does it matter when you go to Africa? I mean, the weather is pretty stable, right? Consistent?
Yeah. Well, most countries have a small rainy season. So in Ethiopia, the rainy season is actually really heavy. So I would avoid coming to Ethiopia in the rainy season because it's just harder to travel. But other countries like South Africa, it's, pretty easy to come then. The rain's not too heavy and it's actually cheaper. So, it just kind of depends. But, all in all, you can make it work. So don't not come because you can't miss a rainy season.
Okay.
It's just easier if you can come during the sunny season.
Okay. So you just so we kind of can, unboil the ocean, are there countries that you would say, what, stay away from those? Maybe it's easier than, going through every single country that, we could possibly enjoy. Are there any that put that one off your list?
Right. Yeah, not all of Africa is safe. You have to take it, on a country by country basis. So I would recommend starting somewhere in East Africa or Southern Africa, because those are the most stable and the most secure right now. But basically Central Africa and a little bit of Northern Africa is sometimes having issues.
Yeah, okay. So in general, stay east and south.
Yeah, but in general, you can always check like the U.S. Embassy's website, and they'll give you recommendations that are up to date.
Okay, so the burning question, is Ethiopia still your favorite country?
Yeah, I mean, I am obviously a little biased to Ethiopia, and I just got married a couple months ago to an Ethiopian.
Oh my God, congratulations.
Thank you. So yeah, I'm based here. I love this country. It's my favorite one. And it's also very different than other African countries. So if you've seen one, I would recommend coming to Ethiopia, because you'll have a much different experience.
Ah, okay, super. So I mean, are you basically making your living as a writer, as an expert, maybe as a tour guide, or no?
No. Okay. So after my trip, I missed Africa, so I moved back to Ethiopia, and I took on random jobs, and so my background's in social work. But what I found is that maybe a social impact business is actually better for the economies. So I just kept thinking, and I was doing my website just because I felt like I should help others, but it wasn't a career move. And then I just started my own social impact business here. And so we're just getting going with that, and we're new, and everything's slow, but that's what I'm starting.
But don't you have a cause? You have a book, and you have a cause that you're looking for folks to help support. Right. Talk about that.
Yeah. So I have my Backpacking Africa for Beginners ebook, and then all profits go towards the social impact business that I'm starting here. And what we did was we basically innovated a local staple. It's called injera, and we made chips out of it. And so it's like a chip that you'd eat with salsa or guacamole or just by itself. But it's actually the healthiest chip in the world. It's only made of 10 grain and seasoning. There's no oil, there's no preservatives, there's nothing like that. And so we're trying to get money so we can export it, and so we can really start hiring more people. And our goal is to only hire women who are at risk, not because they need us to empower them, but because we think they're just as capable as everybody else. And right now, everyone kind of overlooks them. So we just give them a chance to work and to make their first paychecks, and to be able to provide for their families. And then we also give back a portion of profits to hungry kids in the feeding programs that are here.
Wonderful. You're doing great work. Okay, so if anybody wants more information on that, or if they'd like to support your cause, what should they do? Where should they go for more information?
So if you want to support directly to the cause, you can go to gofundme.com/Dirkosh. Or
spell that.
Dirkosh is DIRKOSH.
Okay. So GoFundMe.com/Dirkosh. DIRKOSH. Got it.
Exactly. Or, just download a backpacking book, because all the profits will go there, and you'll get lots of cool information about how to travel Africa.
Okay, and that's on Backpacking Africa for Beginners.com? Backpacking for Africa for Beginners.com. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Valerie. It was wonderful talking to you, and I hope I'm coming to Ethiopia. I'm going to stay with you.
Please come. I'll make anybody a traditional coffee ceremony if they come here.
Okay, listen, have a good evening. Thanks again. Enjoy your weekend.
Okay. Thank you so much, you too. Bye.